I wanted to share with you a little bit about a book that I am just wrapping up, so to speak. It is called The Notebook by Roland Allen. This is a really cool book. It's a history of thinking on paper, is kind of the rest of the title, and it really does live up to that. So I just wanted to do a brief overview of this because while I think the topic, or maybe not necessarily the topic, but the book is relatively simple, it's still fun to read. And, if you hear that there's a book about notebooks, you're either like, ooh, this could be interesting, or you're like, oh my God, this might be the most boring thing ever. But it definitely caught my eye as somebody who's read before about, some of the history, the process of paper making, how this came to be, where books came from, all of that. And then going into this now, even more specialized notebooks. And of course, going into things like what were they first used for, talking about ledgers, record keeping, as paper became easier to produce and mass produce. That meant that you could have more uses instead of just using things like vellum or much more expensive and hard to procure sources for writing, drawing, all of this. So kind of led to more of an explosion. But they go way back, or I should say he goes way back and talks about, how this stuff came to be, how it was even done. There's proof of, or archaeological studies have shown notebooks, with things like beeswax, where you could write in that and then smooth it over and rewrite. Obviously, some downsides, but this stuff goes way back in time. But then fairly quickly in the book moves into more modern-ish times, kind of medieval Renaissance time, before moving into some more modern examples. And it's not just all dry facts. It's piecing together stories of some of the maybe more important, especially historical figures who have used notebooks, what we know about them, how they use them, and then going in. And some of these people I had personally never heard of before. There's some fascinating stories in there. So really keeps it kind of moving around. It's not just this, list of here's what happened and here's how notebooks came to be where they are today. So while there's certainly that aspect to it, it's interwoven with the stories. And really found it quite enjoyable. So I think of it as kind of a fun read, pretty easy to pick it up, read a couple chapters, and find out some interesting stuff about notebooks, where they came from, how people have used them and kind of their place, and just everything you could probably want to know about the use and history of notebooks. So for me, I give it some thumbs up. Recommend checking out. It's kind of a fun read. Definitely some great material in there. And for me, it's an easy one to just kind of sit down, enjoy, read a little bit, and finish it off in about a week. So highly recommend checking it out. And let me know if you have any questions, comments about the book. Happy to respond below.